proof that my government has always has never hampered any has never hampered the newsmen in their duty to find out what's wrong with the press in Vietnam. He was I heard that he believed that he will be overwhelmed by what the people who repeated that to me said, that he will be overwhelmed by gripes from the foreign local correspondents about the technical difficulties. And he was absolutely amazed that there was not a single one, that no complaints at all about technical difficulties, but only he felt that it is only a question of what he called himself, according to the people who attended that meeting, said, it is only a question of atmosphere. And that means that the foreign local press do not like us and manifest their dislike by critical stories. But so far, we have never hampered them. In that governments are governments of opinion. It means that finally, the whole world will be led by a handful of people who act just out of dislikes or likes.
Do you have any comment on the CIA? You know, is it your ally or anyone's?
It is really difficult to speak of the CIA because, as I have said, it is such a secret service. But according to what I read in the newspapers, I have the impression that there are many tendencies in the CIA, and always according to the press reports, I have the impression that in Vietnam there is a faction which is against the Vietnamese government, while the leaders of the CIA are for the government. And always according to press reports, I see that finally it is the leaders who are pro-Vietnamese who are called back, while the others who are anti stay in Vietnam. So I wonder, I feel puzzled and do not know what they secretly, what they are preparing. We know now how to face and to cope with that invasion. The facts are here. Thanks to a strategy with 3 tactics, the strategic harmless policy, we can isolate the guerrilleros. As you surely know, Mao Zedong repeatedly says that the guerrilleros, wherever they go, mixed with the people, they are like a fish in the water. Sorry, it is enough for us to know what you want. And we shall do our best to satisfy you. But here we do not know, so even if we want, even if there is that pressure, it is hard, it is difficult to please you, and it only harms that war effort. So that question to say that why we do not send guerrilla in the north, I can tell you that if we have, I cannot tell you precisely that I do not attack the Kennedy administration, and I do not intend at all to antagonize it. Maybe I am too, idealistic, but I believe, I am convinced that what is done in really childishly in Vietnam, that cut of the aid to pressure the Vietnamese government without reason, I think that it is done by only a handful of people who are only angry because the they wanted to topple the Vietnamese government, and they could not. So I have the impression that that gesture is only a childish gesture from bad losers, and that's why it is the reason why I think it is my duty to denounce that behavior. I do not think it is the behavior of the Kennedy administration as a whole. That's why I cannot understand each time when I denounce the people who, according to me, are betraying your interest, are betraying your prestige, are harming your prestige. Immediately I'm called anti-American. On the contrary, I think that if I do it, it shows on the contrary how high I put my allies, and that how much pro-American I am, because I know that there are many people who prefer to behave indifferently and not receive, in order to avoid blows. For me, I consider, since I am your ally, and since I have a very high idea of that alliance and of what you want and of your interest, I think it is my duty to denounce a few abuses. And I do not see why each time I denounce a few abuses, I must be called anti-American. On the contrary, I think my behavior shows more than anything else that I am pro-American. If I am not pro-American, I would not even say it. I shall do like a certain cameraman. I shall take my camera and shall photograph only the treasons committed against you. It's all. I shall not act. I shall not try to denounce them.
Madam New,
I do not know precisely who is guilty of treason. I see only that the fact that after the Pentagon, after Mr. McNamara and General Maxwell Taylor have have said that in 1965 the aid could be cut, that means victory will come at that time.
against dancing.
I have never had anything against dancing, and the proof is that I danced ballet until my marriage. But in my country, men, like all men, and chiefly Asian men, they are very exclusive. So I think when they have voted laws liberating women, and they have decided unanimously that women are liberated not to be thrown in the arms of strangers. So it is they who have banned the dancing. I have nothing against dancing. Thank you very much for your warm reception and for your warm attention. I am sorry not to have more time to answer to all the questions, but I think that whoever has questions which have not been answered, please send them to me, and I shall be happy to answer personally. And there is also one thing. I'm amazed that coming here and being ready to answer to all questions, I have not yet received as many questions as I expect. And Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, I feel deeply honored and privileged to be here today, and I would like to thank all of you and countless Americans of goodwill for the warm reception and courtesy in the lion's den, but in the lion's mouth. In spite of this warning, I still feel confident and without fear, because, like the little prince of Saint-Exupéry, I believe that even lions can be sweet if they accept to be so. I do not forget also that whatever you may be, you belong to a friendly country, a country which has helped with much effectiveness Vietnam repel communism, the most horrible plague of this century. I know well that all which your country has done for us is essentially dictated by your feeling of solidarity that Vietnam is the bastion of the free world and is worthy of its confidence, for it is winning the war against the communism. But we cannot forget that which benefits all benefits Vietnam first. Thus, it is because of this deep sense of gratitude that I have considered it my duty, when relationship between our two countries seems to be hurt somehow by misunderstandings, to make the first steps to come here to talk with you, to see if Vietnam or myself, in spite of all our goodwill and in spite of our success, could be ungrateful enough to make you unhappy. I have been accused of many things. I am happy to see that they are either falsehoods or deliberate distortions. I am also accused of indulging in propaganda tour and lecturing people, while in fact I go only where I am invited and am satisfied to answer questions from those who wish to hear me. I wish to point out, apropos of their development, the existence in the sociological context of underdeveloped countries.
There are a few questions. What do you hope to accomplish by your visit to the United States?
I have many people have asked me to what do you to what do you attribute the interest which people show for you? Is it because you are a woman in politics, or do you think there is another reason? According to me, it is just because I have the impression that the American public so far has been somehow overwhelmed by one version which sounds terribly pessimistic, which makes them believe that wherever America puts its efforts, it never sees any result, it is never paid back. So I think that for once, since when I come here, bring the good news and telling that for once we accept a showdown, that we are winning in a record time, because from last year we were in a very difficult situation, and today we are in much better situation. I think that it is just because I present to the American public another toll of the bell, and I wish just with my trip to do that, to present. I do not see why we should be always within something. So we have never thought of being within the governmental system of France, so I cannot say if we think that it would be better or not. And for this, I think that all either men or women understand me. The second question is how much aid in dollars? But I must say that in Paris, I came there as a woman. But finally, the political side of my life has prevented me from being a woman. That's why I could not shop, I could not do anything but just receiving the press only. And so I can say that my goal in going to Paris has not been reached. The second question here is how much aid in dollars and in goods does the United States give to Vietnam, and how is it distributed? I think that for this, the questioner...
And newsman.
What does it mean, goon?
Sur les gangsters, c'est des durs.
About this affair, I find it really regretful, but I think that in Vietnam it is not an exception, and I'm so sorry that when I was in New York, 4 newsmen were beaten by your own policeman, and I felt... And I felt relieved, and I felt really relieved to see that skirmish between your own policeman and the newsmen were not finally put, the blame was not put finally on me, because because it is the policeman who took care of my security, or who did the thing. So I think that it is absolutely regretful, and of course we shall do our best that things like that will never happen. But I think that it must be a two-way effort. That means it is much better to prevent from any provocation, and while relationship between my country and the American press is not at we call beau fixe. Comment dit-on beau fixe?
Steady.
Beau fixe means fair weather.
Yeah.
It is not at the. So I think it is better not to put all on fire by worsening it and emphasizing it too much, because I remember also that a French newsman, when he about my father, I'm very sorry that he has refused to see me. So please, will you be my messengers and to tell him that I'm ready to meet him anytime before you, and if he does not want to settle our misunderstandings in family, I shall be ready to settle that before you.